You've probably heard of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. It's one of those books that people either swear by or call downright dangerous. Is it a masterclass in strategy or just a handbook for manipulators? Well, we're not here to pick a side. We're here to get inside it, to understand the thinking behind its most powerful ideas. So let's break it down.
Right out of the gate, the book hits you with this quote from Machiavelli. And honestly, it tells you everything you need to know about the world we're about to enter. This isn't a place for half measures or polite suggestions. It's a cold, hard look at power, where doing just a little bit of harm can be the most dangerous thing you ever do. So, what's the big idea holding all these laws together? The book's whole framework is built on a single, fascinating premise. To really understand power today, you have to see the world as one giant historical royal court. The core argument is pretty simple. Technology changes, but human nature, not so much. The book says that our modern offices, our social scenes, they all run on the same hidden rules as a king's court from 500 years ago. People at the top want to feel important, they want to feel secure, and figuring out that simple truth is the first step to, actually playing the game. Okay, so if we're all players in this giant court, the first area you have to master is perception. It's not just about what you do, it's about how people see you doing it. It's all about controlling your image. Law 3.7 is a perfect example of this. Create compelling spectacles. Think about the legendary showman P.T. Barnum. He was a master of this. He knew that big, bold, symbolic gestures create this aura of power. And while everyone's distracted by the dazzling show you're putting on, they're not paying any attention to what you're really doing behind the curtain. But that raises a really important question, right? If getting attention is so powerful, should you just try to be in the spotlight all the time? Well, this is where the book gets really interesting and kind of paradoxical.
So on one hand, you have the P.T. Barnum approach. Any attention is good attention. It's way better to be talked about, even badly, than to be completely ignored. But then you've got Napoleon on the other side. He knew that being too available, too seen, actually makes you seem less important. By making yourself a little scarce, you increase your value. And you see this today, right? A brand new startup might need to scream for attention, but a brand like Ferrari gets its power from being exclusive and distant. The lesson here is that there's no one-size-fits-all rule. Presence is a tool, absence is a tool. The trick is knowing which one to use and when.
All right, so for managing your image, we're gonna shift gears to something a lot more direct and, a lot more ruthless. Let's talk about how the book says to deal with your rivals. Law 42 is pretty blunt. It says that if you've got trouble brewing in a group, chances are you can trace it all back to one single influential person. They call this person the shepherd. They're the ones stirring the pot, poisoning the well. So the strategy isn't to fight the whole group. That's a waste of energy. It's to focus all your efforts on that one person. And the playbook it lays out is crystal clear. Step 1, figure out who the real source of the trouble is. Step 2, whatever you do, do not try to negotiate. The book is harsh here. It says they're irredeemable. Step 3, isolate them, banish them, cut off their influence completely. And what happens next? Step 4, the followers, the sheep, they'll just scatter. And just to hammer this point home, look at the metaphor from Law 15. Leaving an enemy half-beaten is like finding a deadly snake and then nursing it back to health. You're just giving it time to recover and letting its resentment, its venom, get even stronger. The message is pretty chilling. When you fight, your victory has to be absolute. But power isn't always about these direct, aggressive moves. In fact, some of the most powerful laws are about the exact opposite. They're about subtlety, about patience, about the art of timing. It's all about playing the long game. The story of the playwright Bertolt Brecht is a fantastic illustration of Law 22, use the surrender tactic. So in the 1940s, he gets dragged in front of this terrifying anti-communist committee in the US. Now, he could have fought them, made a big defiant speech, but he didn't. He played dumb. He acted cooperative, but gave these really confusing, rambling answers that ran them in circles. And what was the result? The committee got frustrated and just let him go. He walked out a free man and left the country. Meanwhile, his friends who stood up and fought back defiantly, they got blacklisted for years. Brecht won the war by pretending to lose the battle. I love this Ethiopian proverb from the book because it just captures that idea so perfectly, doesn't it? It's about knowing when to just bow your head and play along. You give the outward appearance of surrender, but inwardly, you're preserving your own power, your own dignity, and saving your energy for a fight you can actually win. So we've looked at image, at aggression, and at patience.
That brings us to the final and maybe the most advanced concept in the whole book. This is the idea that the highest form of power is to have no form at all.
Law 48 tells you to assume formlessness. Be like water. It's fluid, it's adaptable, you can't grab a hold of it. If you don't have a rigid, visible plan, your opponents have no idea what you're going to do next. They can't prepare for you. The ancient strategist Sun Tzu had a word for this. This ability to constantly change and adapt to your opponent, he called it genius.
And that's really the key thing to understand here. The 48 Laws of Power doesn't give you a moral compass. It's not telling you what's right or wrong. It's just a toolkit. It's a guide to the mechanics of how power works in the real world. It lays out the game, it explains the rules, but it leaves the biggest question of all up to you. If you get this power, what are you going to use it for?